Protecting Kids in a Digital World. I'm your host, Hallie Huntsman, and I'm so glad you're joining us for episode 2. Today, we're going to dive deep into the risks of digital communication, especially for children, and explore its potential impact on mental health. In episode 1, we explored the basics of communication privacy management theory and how it helps guide us in setting appropriate boundaries in the digital age. But in this episode, we're focusing on the darker side of digital communication, which are the risks and how they can affect our kids' mental health. As you know, digital communication is a constant part of our children's lives. They're texting, gaming, FaceTiming, and sharing moments on social media. They're essentially growing up in a world where communication happens more online than offline. But when these platforms offer so many opportunities for connection, they also pose some serious risks. Let's break down some of those risks and explore how they can impact our kids' mental well-being. For many parents, it's a challenge to keep up with the pace of digital life and understand the profound influence it has on our children's mental health. We're seeing more cases of anxiety, depression, and stress in children today, and it's impossible to ignore the connection between these issues and digital platforms. As we look deeper into these risks, it's crucial to ask ourselves, how much of this is a result of the digital world they're navigating? We live in a time where digital communication is interwoven into nearly every aspect of life, especially for kids and teens. Social media, instant messaging, video calls, and online gaming are all part of how children interact. These benefits are undeniable. They stay connected with their friends, they have access to a wealth of information, and they can express themselves in a way that previous generations never could. But just with any tool, there's a darker side. Digital platforms create an environment where children's sense of self-worth is increasingly tied to how they're perceived online. And this doesn't just affect their confidence, it can also contribute to long-lasting mental and health struggles. The research shows that social media use and excessive screen time are linked to rising rates of anxiety, depression, and even issues like body dysmorphia. In fact, studies such as Corralejo and Domenech Rodríguez in 2018 highlight how social media isn't just a neutral platform, it's actually shaping children's perceptions of themselves and the world around them in harmful ways. They're constantly exposed to filtered and curated realities that are far from what they've experienced in their everyday lives. In addition to this, children also feel pressure to meet unrealistic standards set by influencers or even their peers. This constant comparison creates feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, or the fear of missing out, leading to emotional and mental strain. These pressures can build up quietly and leave children struggling with self-esteem issues and even more serious conditions like depression and eating disorders. Let's start by focusing on social media, which is a cornerstone of digital communication. Platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat are designed to keep users engaged by rewarding them with likes, shares, and comments. However, this constant need for validation can have severe consequences on children's mental health. Studies like the one by Sanders and others in 2016 show that children who spend excessive time on social media tend to experience higher levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. Why? Well, social media encourages kids to compare themselves to others. The problem is they're not even comparing their real everyday selves. They're comparing their reality to the highlight reel of someone else's life. This can create feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, or loneliness, especially when children seeing their peers post glamorous pictures of parties, vacations, or social events they weren't a part of. This idea of a highlight reel creates a warped sense of reality for children, making them feel as though everyone else is living a more exciting or more fulfilling life than they are. And over time, this sense of comparison erodes their self-worth, leaving them to feel anxious about how they measure up. This feeling of not measuring up can leave children struggling to feel content with their own lives. Social media cultivates a cycle of comparison that is so hard to escape, which, as research shows, it's a breeding ground for emotional distress. But the harm goes beyond just comparison. Children are exposed to cyberbullying at a higher rate than ever before. Unlike traditional bullying, which can happen face to face, cyberbullying can occur 24/7 with no reprieve. It can be difficult for kids to escape the hurtful words, exclusion, or threats they may encounter online. Research by Lee and others in 2022 shows that the psychological toll of cyberbullying can lead to depression, social anxiety, and even suicidal thoughts. The emotional weight of being constantly attacked or excluded online can leave lasting scars. Worse, cyberbullying can be more difficult for parents to detect because it often occurs in private spaces like messaging apps or direct messages on social media platforms. Now, let's take a step back and look at the larger issue of excessive screen time. While some screen time is inevitable and often necessary for school and staying connected with family and friends, the amount of time children spend on their devices is a growing concern. Lauricella and Cingel in 2022 conducted research showing a direct correlation between excessive screen time and negative mental health outcomes. When kids spend too much time on screens, they often experience a decrease in face-to-face social interactions, which are crucial for emotional development. The inability to practice reading body language, tone of voice, or facial expressions can stunt their social skills and lead to feelings of loneliness or isolation. We all know that humans are social creatures, and for children, these in person interactions are the foundation of building empathy, trust, and emotional intelligence. This also interferes with important aspects of a child's life, like schoolwork and physical activity. When kids are glued to their screens, they often neglect their school responsibilities or physical exercise, both of which are vital for mental health. The lack of physical activity has been linked to higher rates of depression, anxiety, and sleep disorders. As children become more addicted to their devices, they miss out on the mental health benefits that come with regular exercise, like the release of endorphins that boost mood and reduce stress. Speaking of sleep, one of the biggest culprits of screen time related mental health issues is poor sleep. The blue light emitted from devices like phones, tablets, and computers interferes with the body's natural production of melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep. Kids who spend too much time on their devices, particularly before bed, often experience difficulty falling asleep. This leads to sleep deprivation, which, as we know, has profound effects on mental health, exacerbating anxiety, irritability, and depression. A good night's sleep is essential for emotional regulation, and without it, children become more susceptible to mood swings and mental fatigue, as Sanders and others in 2016 has mentioned. While social media and screen time are important contributors to digital communication related risks, instant messaging and online gaming introduce additional hazards. Let's start with messaging. Whether it's texting or using apps like WhatsApp or Snapchat, these platforms often serve as the primary means of communication for many kids. While messaging allows kids to stay in touch with friends, it can also lead to a rise in anxiety and insecurity. Corralejo and Domenech Rodríguez in 2018 suggest that while messaging can help kids form connections, it can also expose them to harmful behaviors. The ease of access to others can sometimes result in negative experiences like sexting, online harassment, or inappropriate content. Children can also feel pressured to constantly reply to messages, creating a sense of urgency that contributes to stress and anxiety. The sense of urgency, especially among teenagers, can create constant pressure to be always available, which means that they are never fully disconnected and can't experience genuine downtime. Gaming too poses risks. Multiplayer games like Fortnite and Roblox can be fun, but they also bring children into contact with strangers who may not have their best interests at heart. Whether it's cyberbullying, inappropriate language, or even exposure to predatory behaviors, online gaming can quickly turn toxic. The internet can create harmful interactions that happen without the child fully realizing the danger. The long hours spent on games also contribute to the issues of excessive screen time, further compounding the risks we've already discussed. So, what have we learned today? Digital communication, while an essential part of modern life, comes with its share of risks. The use of social media, excessive screen time, instant messaging, and online gaming all have the potential to significantly impact children's mental health, from creating feelings of inadequacy and fueling cyberbullying to contributing to sleep deprivation and social isolation. The effects of digital communication cannot be overlooked. As parents, it's essential to be aware of these risks and take proactive steps to protect our children. But how exactly can we do that? Well, we'll explore strategies for managing digital communication and protecting your child's mental health in our next episode. But for now, I encourage you to reflect on what we've discussed today. The more informed you are about the risks of digital communication, the better equipped you'll be to help your child navigate the complex digital landscape safely. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 2 of Protecting Kids in a Digital World. In this episode, we've unpacked the risks associated with digital communication, how they affect mental health, self esteem, and emotional well being. Stay tuned for episode 3, where we'll discuss strategies to safeguard your children's privacy and mental health online. Until next time, stay informed and stay involved.